about your career and you know, how you got to the seat that you're sitting in. I know that there are so many of us that are interested in careers in tech, and I know that there's also special challenges for women to get into the tech field. So before we get into our panel and we ask our panelists some questions about their careers, we are first gonna go to a Jamboard. So I'm going to share my screen and we're going to go onto this Jamboard. So Karina, could you make sure and drop this in the chat? So what we're going to do is we want to hear from some of our attendees before we get started. So you can see on my screen, let's talk about a career in technology. What careers do you already know about in technology? So if you just click that Jamboard link, you can join us and join the conversation and we can hear directly from you guys. So on this left-hand side, you can add images, you can add little sticky notes, you can write with a pen, whatever you want to do to show us what you already know about careers in technology. The next question that we have is, what are you excited to learn about in careers in technology? So you can ask us little questions here, or you can say things that you're just excited to learn about and why you're here. Then of course, the next question, we want to know, which table would you be sitting at? Okay, so if you had to choose one of these lunch tables with some of these amazing, I think they're all Marvel movies, then which table would you sit at? What would be your crew? So you guys can go through these different little, using the top arrows here. And let's go ahead and get started. Add some sticky notes. Let us know, which table would you sit at? What are you excited to learn? And name a career. Okay, so we have engineer, we have IT specialists, software developer. Okay. What else? What other careers can you guys name in technology? Okay, program manager. We have that one. IT manager. Okay, managing a whole team. Web developer. Ooh, marketing. A lot of times we don't really think about marketing, but marketing these days is a lot of data and is a lot of technology that we have to use for marketing. HR specialists. Okay, love it. Information security analyst. Whoa, I didn't think about that when I thought about careers in tech. Digital artists. I love it. Computer systems analysts. Computer network architect. Wow, that's a mouthful, isn't it? Data scientist. Yeah, so data scientist is like the T and the M in STEM working together. You guys already have some really, really good ideas about head of people. You guys already have some really, really good ideas of different careers that are in technology. Site reliability engineer. Yeah. Wow, those are more careers than I could even name. So you guys already know a little bit about tech careers. So let's go to this next question. What are you excited to learn about in careers in technology? You can ask a question. You can say it as a statement. Just why are you here? Why did you decide to spend your Saturday morning here with this lovely panel of women that are in technology? Okay. We don't have any bites here yet. Maybe we have to think about it for a second. What are we excited to learn? From the first question, you would think that you all already know everything about technology. You were able to learn, like, to name so many careers. It was incredible. Yeah, Rohan, you can just click that link that's in the chat. Do I have to be a technologist to work in tech? Ooh, that is a great question. We're going to talk about that later.
Yes, excellent. Someone seeded the audience. Fantastic.
I love it. What else are we excited to learn? I know that I'm excited to talk to all three of you ladies today and learn myself. I know there's a lot about technology that I don't know. Not to mention that your jobs are so different from mine that I am so excited to hear like what you guys' day looks like. What else are you guys excited to learn in the careers in technology? And if you don't like this question, or you're not really sure, you're just here on a Saturday morning because you thought it would be fun, you can write that. You can also go to the next one if you don't like that second question and tell us which table would you sit at. I don't really know Marvel. Okay, that's fine. So like you don't really know Marvel. Then which costume would you wear? Because Halloween just passed. So like of these, which person would you more likely be? If you're just joining us, we want to hear from you guys before we get started. We want to know what you already know about tech. So name a career in technology. You can add sticky notes. You can add images to this. You can write with a pen. Then we want to know what you're excited to learn about. Why are you here on a Saturday morning joining us? Like, what are you excited to learn? And then which table would you sit at? If you had to choose a lunch table with all of these Marvel characters, which table would you like to sit at? I have to know, Wendy, which table would you sit at?
I just typed in Wonder Woman just because she's cool.
Love it. What about you, Jessie? Which table would you sit at?
Well, see, Wendy was thinking outside of the box.
Exactly, because I don't think Wonder Woman's on there.
No, but I was stuck at Iron Man because I'm a huge Iron Man fan.
Robert Downey Jr., yay.
Yeah.
Love it.
I think I would be at table 5. Spider-Man Homecoming, Guardians of the Galaxy. I don't know, Guardians of the Galaxy is
Guardians of the Galaxy is quite
Best soundtrack.
Yeah, that soundtrack was great. The Spider-Man Homecoming soundtrack was also really good. And I would love to hang out with Chris Pratt.
Right? Absolutely.
I would have no problem with that, as long as he does all of his lines from Parks and Rec, because come on.
Ray
from Star Wars, another outside of the box thinker.
Yay.
All right, so someone said that they're excited. I'm very interested with the webs and complexities of technology and how much there is to it. I'm interested in AI and all the ways and hows of coding in the internet. It just seems that as our world progresses.
Absolutely.
Okay, really interesting. Yeah, so there's so many different things that encompass technology. And yes, you're absolutely right. It's the way that our world is progressing, and we're going to have to use technology. Technology may take over and control and impact everyone's lives. Oh, thanks, Iris, for sharing that. Yeah, technology affects all of our lives, all of our everyday lives. We use so much technology. Even the things that we don't consider technology are technology, you know, an oven, a microwave. Those were, you know, big technologies that came out in our parents' lifetime or our grandparents' lifetimes. Any other thoughts before? Oh, it's supposed to continue. It got cut off. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. I'm very interested with the webs and complexions of technology and how much there is to it. I'm interested in AI and all the ways and hows of coding and the internet. It just seems that if our world progresses, technology may take over and control and impact everyone's lives. There it goes. There. The full sentence. Thanks so much for sharing that, Iris. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get started. We have this Jamboard. So if you want to add any other thoughts, you're more than welcome to keep adding to that. So what we're going to do first is we want to kind of talk to everyone about, you know, what is STEM Scouts and Exploring? Who is actually hosting and who organized this whole event for you guys to hear from these lovely ladies. So basically what we have for elementary and middle school students is a program called STEM Scouts. STEM Scouts is an opportunity for kids to get hands-on with STEM, get really excited, and either go onto a live Zoom or do it with their families at home, to just get to build different things, engineer different things, and just explore different technologies, different sciences. And then as you progress through our programs, we have exploring clubs and posts, which actually help you to get hands-on with career professionals so that you can learn where are you going in life? What kind of education do you need? What are different careers within technology? You guys, Iris said it perfectly. There's so many different parts of technology and so many different discoverable careers in technology that exploring clubs and posts can really, being a part of those programs can really help you to find that pathway forward for yourself. So if you are interested at all in joining those programs and getting hands-on career experiences through exploring to help you achieve those career goals, Karina has dropped the link of how you can join and how you can learn more in the chat. So what we're gonna do today is we are, so what exploring is, we have worksite visits, we have career talks, very similar to things like we're gonna do today with the three lovely ladies that we have on the call. And we also, in the meetings, we go over lesson plans that really just help to cover those essential skills that you're gonna need in life that your employers will eventually want you to have. So enough about STEM Scouts and exploring. If you're interested, like I said, those links will be in the chat. But we have three lovely ladies as our panelists today. So please, react or send something in the chat to clap and welcome them all. I know that we're virtual, we can't hear you, so give us some sound offs in the chat. Show us you're excited. So first we have Wendy Howe, and Wendy Howe is the Chief of Staff for Technical Service Product Management with Cisco Systems. She's worked with companies from startup to multinationals and in various functions, including in M&A, channels, sales, and consulting. Howe is currently a leader in the technical services product management organization and owns strategic and fiscal planning for the services portfolio that accounts for more than $10 billion in revenue. She is deeply involved in nonprofits as the managing director for Girls in Tech, a board member at the Kindness Campaign, and chair of both STEM Scouts and Girl Scouts of Central Texas Women of Distinction. She considers herself a rebel with a cause and is known for her dogged tenacity and creativity to support her causes. These are just a few things that excite her more than raising the next generation of confident and powerful female leaders, and these nonprofits are the vehicle by which she drives her mission forward. We also have Miss Jessie Metcalf, and she has been an advocate of compassion in her 28 plus years in Austin and has a broad public and private sector experience. Jessie started her career helping local disadvantaged businesses build strategies for growth, then joined Cisco, where she developed mergers and acquisition strategies for growth, then acquisition strategies to activate the people, culture, and technologies of the company they acquired. She now leads an initiative at Amazon Web Services focused on helping state and local governments and nonprofits find innovative uses of technology to prevent and combat homelessness. Jessie has a bachelor's degree in philosophy from the University of Texas at Austin, hook 'em. As president of the board of directors for Seedling, a nonprofit that matches mentors with children who have incarcerated parents. She's also a member of the advisory council for ECHO, which is Austin's Homelessness Continuum of Care, and a member of the board of directors at Front Steps, a nonprofit that helps people transition from homelessness into housing. And of course, we have Alex with us as well. So Alex is the CEO and co-founder of ModTech Labs. Her background in physical and digital design began while earning a bachelor's in science in interior design and construction technology. For nearly 5 years, she has worked in emerging technologies, including photogrammetry. That's a really big word.
Photogrammetry. It is a tricky one.
imagery, volumetric video, XR, and AI, among others. So she's going to be the person that we can ask some AI questions. I know that was already of interest that we saw on the Jamboard. She pushes the technologies of boundaries to bring new tools to the market. And Alex has been recognized by Intel as a top innovator for the last 3 years and was awarded an Innovation Award last year by the Austin Chamber. She is an alumni of Sputnik ATX Accelerator and has had numerous speaking engagements, often focused on emerging technologies. At South by Southwest, SIFGraph, Augmented World Expo, Startup Week Austin, and many more. On the human side, Alex volunteers with organizations that further the access, education, and opportunities to move the needle for underserved communities. Her free time is often spent on family walks, cruising the farmers market, and movie nights. So without further ado, everyone sound off in the chat your giant round of applause for the wonderful panelists that we have here today.
Miss Brooke, there is one other thing. Someone's being modest. She's actually the CEO and founder of 2 different companies. So Alex, I think that needs to be in your bio.
I mean, it could be.
Yeah. So underachievers, all of us, clearly.
Obviously, all underachievers. That's why we asked you here. So first, I want to kind of talk to you, Alex. I have a video, but could you just give us a little bit of context? What is Mod Labs, and what do you, what do you do for Mod Labs as a CEO?
Yeah, so ModTech Labs is a platform where we intake raw imagery data, so photos, videos, scans, and then we process that to create cleaner imagery data that goes in to data sets for machine learning. And it also can be used for visualization purposes. So if you think everything from, visual effects for movies, all the way through your CT and MRI scans at the doctor, and many, many, many other applications, all kinds of fun stuff. And really, my focus as CEO is strategic, meaning I look at the big picture of how we're driving the company, what we're moving forward with, and how we're achieving that internally. I build our teams, and then a huge part of that is also fundraising and keeping our team afloat. So.
Yeah, awesome. So I'm going to show just kind of a brief video that Alex shared with us so that we can really just kind of visualize everything that she said, because it sounds like, I've never heard of imagery data. I don't know what that looks like. So I'm sure that there's other people in the audience that don't know that as well. So let's go ahead and play. Let me know if you can hear it. Let's hope so.
Good sound.
Good jam.
All right, that was such a cool video. Thanks
I
for
especially
sharing
like
that.
the music.
Yeah, I can really see how your background in the design has helped you to, kind of come up with this innovative idea of how to use data and AI. So that is really interesting. So the next video that we have for you guys, I kind of want to ask Jessie. So Jessie, you work for Amazon Web Services. So can you just give us kind of a brief overview of how you do that? What is your role look like with Amazon Web Services? And then we'll also kind of show them a brief video afterwards.
Sure. So first, Amazon Web Services is the cloud technology behind Amazon.com. So if you're familiar with Amazon.com, which I'm sure you are, all of the stuff behind the scenes is really what created Amazon Web Services years ago. And so I work in that group. And specifically, I work with state and local governments, helping them leverage technology to further their efforts to prevent and combat homelessness. So just as technology and innovations have delivered amazing things to us on our smartphones and in our lives, that innovation really needs to be unleashed on a lot of these other social challenges like homelessness.
We have just a brief video. Yeah, sorry. We have just a brief video that we're going to show so you guys can also kind of visualize what Jessie does for Amazon Web Services.
Many machine learning applications need human oversight to ensure accuracy with sensitive data and to help provide continuous improvements to machine learning models. In these situations, you're often forced to choose between a machine learning only or human only system. But companies are looking for the best of both worlds, integrating machine learning systems into your workflow while keeping a human eye on the results to guarantee a needed precision. Amazon Augmented AI, or Amazon A2I, is a fully managed machine learning solution offering both machine scale and human accuracy. It removes the undifferentiated heavy lifting associated with building systems or managing large numbers of human reviewers. And it doesn't matter if the machine learning is built on AWS or using other tools. Amazon A2I can seamlessly integrate into workflows both inside and outside of AWS. You can use your own employees, routing reviews internally, or access over 500,000 independent contractors. If your data requires confidentiality or special skills, there are pre-screened embedded AWS vendors available. Amazon A2I closes the machine learning loop by including a human touch, which reduces time to market for your machine learning models. And by continuously improving your models while reducing manual effort, you'll ultimately save time and money. Get started today now that Amazon A2I makes it easy to integrate human review into any machine learning application.
All right, so then the next, to give you guys context, so you guys in the chat did say that you've heard of Cisco, and obviously we live in a different world in 2020, and Cisco has really helped us to stay connected. So Wendy, can you just kind of briefly describe what your role is at Cisco, and then we'll also kind of show them a video so that they can bring it into context about the wide variety that.
Yeah, absolutely. So basically most of the internet traffic that is running around in the world, a lot of that runs on the routers and the other, I'll just leave it at that. It runs on Cisco equipment. So we're responsible for a ton of internet traffic. And one of our huge product lines is called WebEx, which you've possibly seen or heard of. A lot of famous people are using it. So you may have seen someone in a video at some point. I'm not sure which video you're going to show, but my job is, it's called Chief of Staff for a business unit. And basically what the Chief of Staff is, I like to call it the chief cat herder because it encompasses a lot of different things. I am the right-hand person for my executive, my vice president. So that includes, being the gatekeeper for him, but also establishing strategy, managing large budgets, oversight on programs and processes, process improvement, all of the talent development for our team, and actually interface that we have with nonprofits and support of various nonprofits. So I think there's a theme for all three of us ladies here. It's not necessarily just what we do for the day job, but we all have a very strong focus in just our personal lives and in our business lives on social impacting work as well.
Yes, that's probably why all three of you ladies are here on this panel today and giving your time. So we are actually going to show a video to kind of put it into context about Cisco for you guys as well. So yes, we will see a famous person in this video.
What a teaser I am.
The Ellen Show is the #1 daytime talk show in America. By far, the biggest thing we do all year is our Mother's Day event. It's so much fun and our fans just love it. We spend a lot of time aligning the show with brands that want to be a part of the Ellen experience.
There were a bunch of moms-to-be all over the country who tried to get tickets, but they could not get tickets.
We're usually working on a really tight schedule. The faster we can launch or join meetings, the better.
I am going to use Cisco video technology to surprise them. I don't want to surprise the baby out of you, but surprise!
Some of us are in LA, some of us are in New York. There's an enormous amount of collaboration that goes on between us. And it really doesn't matter if we're on a laptop in our office or on the lawn.
We're back, and so far no one in the audience has gone into labor, but we're just getting started.
Because we don't always have things nailed down until the last minute, communication becomes a really big deal. Being able to share, tweak, and review Microsoft Office documents within WebEx Teams and actually see those changes as they're being made, that's huge. We do hundreds of integrations every year. So we've gotten to the point where if we weren't using WebEx Teams, it would just slow the whole process down. With Cisco WebEx Teams, we know this is going to be the best Mother's Day show ever.
Between teamwork and the biggest show of the year,
Be kind to one another. Happy Mother's Day!
there's a bridge. Cisco, the bridge to possible.
The bridge to all of the internet traffic. That's what that is.
Ding, ding, ding.
Oh, wow. So I hope that everyone in the audience has a little bit better of an idea of, what these different companies are and how these wonderful ladies kind of are, in that space. So before we get too far and talking about, what you ladies do in a normal day as a chief of staff or as a program manager for Amazon Web Services or as a CEO, what kinds of education is required to have the seat? So was there any education requirements that you had to have to be in your current seat, or is there a typical education path that that you would have to have in order to be in you guys' current position?
Who do you want? I'll go first. If I'll jump in because I always do that. So typically, for something inside a technology company, I would say, especially something like a chief of staff type role or other managerial role, typically you would be asked for a traditional 4-year degree. And maybe that would be in something like finance or business management, et cetera. But I'm a huge advocate of saying you need to figure out from an educational perspective what is right for you and the career you're going to pursue. I truly do not believe that a traditional 4-year college degree is for everyone, especially now and in the future of work, whereby if you're technical, maybe you want to go take, a 2-year Cisco certification program and become a CCIE, or maybe you want to spend 6 months at a coding program. So I'm not saying don't go get a 4-year degree, but I'm saying understand that not every role that is here today, and in fact, all the roles that are going to be created that aren't even out there yet, they may not always require that. So just think, long and hard about what is your path, and then match the right education to it. And it's so much easier in today's world. There's, thousands and thousands and thousands of hours of content that are available for free online that you can, self-educate as well. So keep that in mind and be a lifelong learner. That's what I say.
Yes, I will add to that there are a lot of large companies, Google for one, that actually are adding training. They're actually dropping their 4-year degree requirement for a lot of positions in the companies.
Yep.
And offering training from the get-go. So if Google is in your destiny and that's where you want to go, then there might be a foot in the door going through their training programs rather than going a traditional educational route. I myself did get a 4-year degree, but interior design and construction technology is not as applicable as you might think in what we're doing. It's been really interesting. We actually started, this is our second company, and our first company was focused on doing XR, which is extended reality applications for businesses. And so this is everything from virtual reality with the goggles to augmented reality through your phone, like Pokemon Go. And we did all kinds of fun stuff. We did data visualization for KPMG. We did a wheelchair driving simulation for motorized wheelchairs for the second largest company in the world, quantum rehabilitation, and many, many other things. And the spin out of ModTech was really because we found a product. We created a product. And a lot of my education in regard to how to be a successful startup founder and how to learn to be a CEO has been very much, it had nothing to do with my education, my formal education. And it had a lot to do with finding resources, training that were more specific to startup world. So Austin specifically has a really, really fantastic startup culture. There are a lot of really great ways to plug in and, whether it's, going through UT, which has a ton of programs, or whether it's going through Capital Factory, which is very much, the center of gravity for entrepreneurship is their tagline. There are an amazing amount of resources out there and available.
And I would just like to add one additional comment there. We talked about, how everything is starting to look different now. And with the pace of innovation and technology development, it's going to continue to look different. And I would say to every single solitary person on this call, please invest in or take some entrepreneurial thinking or entrepreneurial mindset class to be successful in the future. There's going to be different skill sets than more traditionally, really required. And if you learn an entrepreneurial mindset, that is absolutely applicable to anything that you might do in life. So I highly recommend it. And I can recommend a good book, Brooke, if you want to send it out later as well.
Yeah, you can throw it in the chat. We'll save the chat for later and share that out. So Jessie, same question. What kind of education is required for you to be in the seat that you're sitting in, and what would be your advice for those who are possibly looking into careers like yours?
So similarly, I have a 4-year degree from UT. And my degree was in philosophy. So, my aspirations when I graduated from high school were to become an attorney. I was going to become a defense attorney, and I was going to keep people who couldn't otherwise afford an attorney, out of the criminal justice system. So I had big aspirations, and that led to my philosophy degree. But then along the way, I had an opportunity to join Capital Metro. So it was my first professional role right as I was in my junior and senior year in college. And it was the philosophy degree that actually got me the internship that led to that professional career. So I didn't go to college trying to become a program manager, which is basically what I've been for the last 20 years. But that philosophy degree was something that stood out from all the other applicants that were in that pack. So if nothing else, hopefully that inspires you to look for ways to differentiate yourself as you're applying for roles. The 4-year degree that I took in particular, because it wasn't business oriented, it wasn't finance, it wasn't computer science, it wasn't engineering. It felt a little silly in the moment, but in hindsight, it was just right. I learned so much about critical thinking, so much about having to, process information, critical thinking, but also turn that into and communicate with others about those ideas. And that has been a priceless investment and has served me very well in my career. The 4-year degree, I think, is an opportunity. It's one of your last opportunities as you're kind of growing up and developing in those early years to invest in yourself. So if you have the opportunity to go to college and invest in yourself, pick something that you can connect with that sounds right to you. But it's an escalator to some amazing place. You don't yet know what it is. So there's really kind of no wrong door if you have the opportunity to go. But it also does not shut off opportunities to you.
Well, thanks for sharing that. And I just want to remind all of our attendees that are here, if you have any questions that you want asked by our panelists, you're welcome to drop them into the chat, and we can make sure that we're asking those questions as well. So if someone was interested in becoming the chief of staff or becoming a CEO or becoming a program manager at Amazon, what is kind of a salary range of people that are in those roles? So sometimes money talks. Sometimes that's a big a big driver, a motivator of going to college and getting that 4-year degree so that we can be successful in our careers. So what would you guys kind of share about salary range?
I can start, because as a founder, sometimes it's zero. Sometimes it is zero. And our first business was a service-based business. And so our salary was highly dependent on how many customers we had coming through the door. It wasn't, it wasn't product-based. So it wasn't like a predictable income. And so it varied. We had good years where we were, and I say we, my husband is actually my co-founder. So we work together. We've worked together for 5 years, and that's been a really interesting, fun, challenging thing. But our household income is wholly dependent on our business. And so as we have transitioned to ModTech now, our salary range, we are still below market, meaning I'm like, what are we at now? I think both of us are taking roughly $40,000 each. And we're doing that specifically because we're being very conservative with our budget as a startup to make sure that we are successful, really. Like, we would rather invest in bringing on more people that we can pay higher salaries, competitive salaries to, so that we can move the needle and really make our company, this bigger, better thing. Market rate for CEO of a technology company in Austin is around $180,000. So well below market, but lots of room for growth.
But you're doing it for the right things. Yeah.
Yeah. I love to hear, that's really important for us to hear. If we're interested in starting our own company or starting our own business, there are going to have to be, certain sacrifices that we have to make, and really kind of strategic decisions of where we're investing our money and our runway. So I love to hear that perspective, Alex.
And one of the 8 tenets, right, of the entrepreneurial mindset is that you have to be open to risk, because clearly, starting your own business, becoming a CEO, that it's a risk. It always is. So good for you, Alex. I mean, and then, from a chief of staff, there's every leader that you talk to, the definition of chief of staff is slightly different. So it's really you and your leader or leadership design what your role looks like to support that particular person, that particular entity. But at an organization the size of Cisco, and I've been in technology, I'm old, I've been in technology a long time. Jessie's not old, but she's also been in technology a long time. So you would definitely be you could be in the low, mid to high 6-figure range easily at a larger organization. So it can be a good place to be.
Yeah, I was going to characterize it, if you're sort of in the early in career, the program manager role could be a $50,000 to an $80,000 role, but it could also, as you sort of build up your experience and you become a program manager extraordinaire, that puts you in a range of 100 to 200K in the tech space for sure. But don't forget about, and I'm the risk adverse person here, so I love that I'm paired here with Alex.
I love it.
When I think of salary, I think of all the other things that often aren't calculated with the salary, like I've had dental insurance my entire career.
Yes, exactly.
I've had health insurance my whole career, 401k plan. I've learned about, of course, stocks, because I work in a tech company, and so they often pay with stock. And so managing a stock portfolio is something, that happened along the way. So I think of that total compensation package in the tech space, and I just want to make sure that you think about all of those as having deep, long-term value for you in your life.
Yeah.
Sorry. I just wanted to add that's a super valuable addition.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of those niceties, standard at a lot of larger companies, we don't have those.
But you don't have
yet.
that, right?
But the goal, right, is with the growth of the company, then we not only get to add those benefits, but also we get to own part of the company as it gets larger with stocks.
Absolutely.
And so the impending payoff, right? That's the risk. Will it? Won't it? The impending payoff could be significantly larger, but you don't know. So.
And I just want to let everyone know that we have a future entrepreneur online. It looks like Iris might be very interested in starting her own gig at some point. So good for you, Iris.
Yeah, I love that, Iris. Make sure that if you have any questions, for Alex that you want to ask, put it in the chat. We'll make sure that we answer those questions. I do have another question for you ladies. This goes to all of you because you all have mentioned how your school trajectory wasn't exactly in the career that you ended up in. What is one thing that you wish that you would have learned in school or training, before you ended up in the seat that you're in?
For me, it's heavy business. My degree, interior design, it is actually a Bachelor of Science, right? So it's the full-fledged program. It's not just like a design certificate, which is great, but it included, learning about all the building codes. It included learning about how to properly, measure and price fabric for sofas and curtains and all kinds of things like that. And so there were some financial aspects and some, regulation aspects in regard to commercial design and accessibility, that kind of thing. And there's a lot more to learn about finances and, balancing, budgets and all kinds of other things. I wish that I had a few more business classes. I think that would have been really helpful, but I've kind of taken those on as certification style courses or ebooks, finding the right mentors. And so it's you can come by it in lots of different ways, but that would have been helpful.
Yeah,
I
want
me, go ahead, Jessie.
Those business classes, I definitely wish I had done more of that. Practical math, applying math in a very practical way in your life would have been amazing. But it's so important for us to take data that is made available to us and draw our own conclusions. But that requires not only the skill and the tools to do it, but just being able to do statistics and apply that to either business or your own personal finances.
Thank God for your business analyst, right?
Can I have one of those?
Yeah, mine is a little different. I wish, I'll be the crazy one. I wish I wouldn't have wasted 5 years taking German. And now I still can speak. I can say I play violin, and I'm on the boat. So, and I'm nothing against language, but I tried to look back now. I probably would have done something different than 5 years of German. So, that is what it is.
Iris is in the chat. She plays violin and she's taking German currently. So
Ich übe Geige. Ich übe Geige. I probably didn't get my umlaut right, but oh my gosh, that's great, Iris.
Yeah. So the next question that I have for you ladies is, can you be in tech if you don't code? I think a lot of us have that question and that kind of mindset is technology is all about coding, is all about data science, is all about IT. We saw that at the beginning of our program here. Everyone on the Jamboard, it was really technology heavy. But from hearing, about you guys and what you do every day, doesn't sound like you're creating an architect system. It doesn't sound like you're coding. So what are you guys' opinion for, do you have to code to be in tech?
The answer is an absolute resounding no, unless you want to be. Obviously you heard from all of us, I am a businesswoman that sits inside a technology organization. You saw from the very beginning that, it's not just IT analyst or data scientist or, someone who's a software coding engineer. There's HR, there's, I just lost my word. There's HR, there is I've completely lost the
Marketing.
capacity
Marketing
to
is
marketing. That's the
Yep.
word I was going to say.
Yeah.
And I completely forgot it. There's legal, there's capital, there's equipment, there's, I mean, just any large company has so many different functional teams. And if you do want to be in a large organization akin to what Jessie and I work within, when you get into that size of an organization, there's pathways. You can stay in an organization for years and do 100 different types of roles. Or, you know, maybe you choose to go to a large organization first, and then maybe you want to go do something more small or entrepreneurial. But yeah, you don't have to code, but if you want to, it's a fantastic thing to get under your belt. Absolutely.
Yeah, I will add to that in startup land. One of the things that you do is you tend to wear a lot of different hats, especially when your team is really small, when you're founding your company. And so having a technical understanding, even if that's not your primary role, is really helpful. I myself do not read code. I do not write code. However, my husband, who is my CTO, is a self-taught technical person. He actually has an art degree, and he taught himself to code. He's the primary coder on everything that we've done in the last 5 years. And what that has afforded me is a mentor for technology. I actually tell people, I'm like, I'm TSL, tech is a second language, because I didn't come into this really knowing or understanding all of the technical jargon. And there's a lot of that now. I actually call it alphabet soup. AI, XR, VR, AR, MR, all the things, IoT. Yeah, it's alphabet soup.
Right.
But you know, there's a lot of opportunity to expose yourself to that and you know, functionally understand it, even if it's not the primary thing.
Yeah. I joined Cisco many years ago, and I knew nothing about technology.
Exactly.
And I was on a team surrounded by a bunch of very smart engineers and coders and developers. And I knew right away I needed to learn a little bit more about that space. And there are plenty of certifications once you get into it. You don't have to have a technical role to learn tech, but I definitely knew that I needed to lean in, and I needed to learn at least the language. And so I got my Cisco Certified Network Associate in my first year at Cisco, just so that I could speak the language and earn the trust of my colleagues. And then same thing, when I moved to AWS, I didn't have any technical experience in cloud, even though I'd been in the tech space for almost 2 decades. And so I took the cloud practitioner certification. So you don't have to be in it. There are options, and then you can dip your toe in and go as far as you need to.
And you'd be surprised that you're hearing all these acronyms come out of all our mouths. So you will pick up so much by osmosis. I advise you to become like a little sponge, and lifelong learning, as I keep saying, but also too, you don't have to go that deep. I mean, Jessie, kudos to you, went deeper than I do. You have to be able to be in the room with the folks on the team and speak the language, even if you don't fully understand it down to the nth degree. If you can speak it reasonably and understand it reasonably, that's good enough in many cases.
So we have another question from our future CEO. So her question was, how much money did you have to invest to start a business?
We invested $0. We actually were living in LA at the time. We've been back in Austin now for 4 years. We originally met here. We lived in several different cities on the trek of career following. And when we were living in LA, my husband and I decided, we are so tired of moving at the behest of other people that it is time for us to start our own business. And in lieu of, putting money down, because we're not a brick and mortar, we're all digital. We really I'm sorry, I will take that back. It wasn't $0, because to do proper business, you have to register your business.
Yes.
Registration for business in Texas was $300. I think it's still around the same. So we were living in LA, but we knew we were moving back to Austin. So we registered in Texas. We weren't doing a ton of business in LA anyway. And so we got our first projects, and as a service business, it was a LLC, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to get too much into that, but there are lots of business structures that you can do that make it easier and less expensive. So there's a lot of wiggle room there.
Love it.
Good point.
Yeah, I love that. That's such a great question from the audience, and thanks for sharing, Alex. Let's finish up with one last question for you ladies. Let's you guys share a story, one of your favorite moments in your job. Maybe that was a rookie mistake, maybe it was an irate customer, maybe it was a time that the team just kind of made this funny mistake and ended up just kind of being a fun teachable moment. Just, you know, share whatever story comes to mind of like your favorite moment in your current career.
I have one that's just not my favorite, but it's hysterical. So I'm happy to share that. I worked for a company called Veritas, and we had just been acquired by another company called Symantec. So I worked in mergers and acquisitions at the time, and we had every single executive from both companies in one room at a hotel in the Silicon Valley, starting to talk about how we were going to integrate. So we were each going up to just introduce ourselves, talk about what our current role was, what team we were supporting. And I walked up right in between the two CEOs and literally tripped, fell flat on my face right in front of both of the CEOs, got up, laughed at myself and like, hi, I'm Wendy. So I tell that story because, you know, just laugh it off. Not everything is like this life-threatening, career-ending thing. And I think humor, for me, humor has to be a part of my career, no matter what it is. So pretty humorous to fall down in front of the CEOs and just pop up and say, hey, well, there you go. I made an impression.
The one that comes to mind for me, in 2017, we had an official South by Southwest panel. So we had an entire ballroom. I had a massive fear of public speaking, like blackout style in front of her. And I was like, it's a panel. It'll be okay. I'll do a little talking. They'll do most of the talking. It'll be fine. And there was definitely a couple of moments where I was like, I'm like tunnel vision, narrowing, blackout, and I'm like, it's okay, just breathe. And we got through it, and it was fine. But looking back on it now, I'm like, that is kind of hysterical because there were 175 people in the room. So it was not a small audience.
Right.
But to be honest, like the thought of that now, I'm like, that is like just silly. It's silly. The fear of public speaking is the number one fear. Above death.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just to be clear, I mean, it cripples me. It cripples me, but I still do it.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, that's the thing.
Everyone out there, right? Take that on as something like face the fear and try and get yourself out there in front. Because it's hugely important in, you know, in business, in life. Maybe you end up becoming a speaker, you know, on the circuit. You just want to be able to have that. And I think it's almost everyone who has the.
Yeah, you're not alone. It is normal. It is actually, you know, the majority of people have this. And so just practice. And that is what I've done over the last few years. And it makes a big difference. But now I'm like, wow, that's silly, sad, funny, like all the things.
All right, so my super silly mistake, it comes to mind anytime a question like this is asked me, but in the late 90s when I was working at Capital Metro, and of course it's our local transit company here, but my role had me sort of mixing and mingling with the chamber and with the council, like, because I was managing a program. And one night I'm sitting at the chamber and I'm managing the booth where people come and check in and they get their name tag. And so a gentleman comes up to me, he says, hi. And I don't know who this person is. And so I say, and what's your name? And he says, Gus Garcia. And I say, and who are you with? And he says, I'm the mayor pro tem. I felt this big, and all the people next to me definitely gave me a little bit of a stink eye. I was pretty embarrassed later, but Mr. Garcia was a super sweetheart about it and had way more fun laughing about it than I did.
I love it.
Thank you so much, ladies, for sharing even your embarrassing stories with the group. I think we all really learned a lot, got a lot of advice from you, becoming lifelong learners, not being scared to technology, even if we don't want to code. all of these really, really solid pieces of advice in case we were interested in going, I think I'm ready for a career change after this panel for sure. So I want to kind of close us out and make sure that you guys have, more opportunities. If you enjoyed this event, if you enjoyed hearing from different professionals about different careers, you might have zero idea of what you want to do. You might not understand different parts of technology. You guys did mention that there's so much about technology that we can continue to learn. So I want to show you guys some of the more upcoming career connections that we have. Wendy will drop the link in the chat for the AI bootcamp. But later on this month, we're going to have a career talk with tech professionals from IBM on the 21st. So if you enjoyed this event, you should come to the next one. And then in December, we will also have our Exploring Robotics post from Anderson High School come and talk to all of you guys about robotics and AI. It's going to be really, really a lot of fun, and it's an opportunity for you to learn directly from high school students as well, if you're interested in exploring. And again, just as a reminder, if you're interested in continuing this kind of learning through our exploring programs or through our STEM Scout programs, the link is going to be in the chat. You also should have gotten an email with instructions of how to join exploring if you're interested in getting that hands-on career that hands-on kind of career mentorship from professionals to figure out, what is my pathway? This is my career dream. How do I get there? And then if you are an elementary or middle schooler here on the call, STEM Scouts is available to you, where you can get materials directly to your door and then explore that with live instructors or just kind of on your own with your family. So for exploring, it is $43 for the annual program, but that includes all of the liability. And then we've basically put together programs like this so that you can learn directly from professionals and learn more about the careers that you're interested in, so that you can be prepared for life and make sure that you are on the right track to achieve your career dreams. So we are going to go ahead and close up. Let's take one more question if we have any questions from the audience as a last minute. We have 2 more minutes before we end our program. So this is your last time. If you have any questions about exploring, STEM Scouts, if you have any questions for Jessie or Alex or Wendy that you didn't have a chance to answer or maybe just thought of, we'll be on for just 1 more minute. I don't see any questions. Oh yeah, that AI boot camp, that looks like a lot of fun.
Come on over. In fact, Alex is going to be one of our judges. At the end of the day, you're actually going to create an AI business as well, and you'll be pitching that to Alex and a couple other really great judges. So we're super excited about it.
That's not intimidating at all.
So much fun.
It's good practice. It's good practice. Have to start somewhere.
Exactly.
Yeah. Start thinking about those different innovative ways and business things that you would have to have. Oh, someone asked, how do I sign up for Explore Learning? So there is a link in the chat that Karina dropped. I'll drop it again just one more time. But there is the application for exploring. And if you have any questions, you can just talk to Karina. She should have emailed you guys, and you can just email her right back. I also dropped her email in the chat. So if you have any other questions about exploring, you can answer, she can answer any of those questions for you. All right, ladies. Well, thank you so much for your time today. I know I learned a lot. I hope everyone else kind of learned a lot. You guys sound off in the chat, give us some virtual claps. I hope to see you guys at the AI bootcamp coming up soon.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Bye. Thanks for having us.
Bye, Iris. Thanks for joining. Bye, Jessie.
Hi. Bye. Great job on execution. I'll say bye now. Bye.
Thank you. Yes, Liliana, we're planning another health meeting. We're probably going to have that in the spring semester. Yeah, after winter break, like Karina said. All right. Well, we will see you guys at the next event. Thanks so much for joining us. We are officially signing off.